Hi everyone, it's Kat. I'm really sorry I can't be there today at this really important gathering, but I have a reunion on my husband's side of the family that's been on the calendar for probably a year. But I'm really glad everybody's having the opportunity to get together today and share their best practices. And Andrea asked me to share something that I did with my class. And I have a level B class here in the morning 2 days a week, and so we were practicing the student learning objective of learning how to ask for and give directions, which we practiced in class, and then we applied that in practice and took a tour of the campus. And I wanted to do this for two reasons: to give them the opportunity to really practice English in a real context, and also to give them the opportunity to see all of the resources that are available to them as students here, and to try to help them understand that there's really a future for them if they continue studying their ESL, that there's many other kinds of programs they can go into, and there's also a lot of resources available to them. And it was a real learning experience for me. I hadn't been to a lot of these places, and so now I personally know more about how to help my students, and that's part of what I want to share today too. And I also want to thank Lucerito Salgado, who came with us, but also she did a lot of work to set up the tour and make it possible for my students. If you look at the handout that I provided today, you'll see a list of the places where we went on the tour. And also you'll see toward the end of the video that after a follow-up activity, I had my students interview each other in class. They're pretty shy in front of the camera. They actually were a little more relaxed and lively. And one thing that's not really in the video, but an important part of the tour, and one of the goals of the tour, was the opportunity to take my students to visit Melinda Nishimori's credit ESL class. And we spent about 20 minutes there, and Linda and her students were great. They welcomed my students in. Each of my students was paired with one of her students, and they had a conversation where my students interviewed her students about how they got to credit ESL and what their class was like in credit ESL, and we got some free cookies. And she also gave my students, all of my students, a newspaper that she uses every week to help her students learn how to read. It's very similar to a newspaper that Janet Lester uses in our department. And so my students got not only a lot of personal practice and knowledge and experience out of it, they got a few takeaways too, so that was really fun. So I hope you enjoy the video. The quality's not great because, you know, I was talking a lot of time when I was taking the students on the tour and not really paying attention to what I was videoing, so I didn't get such great footage, but you get a little idea of how lively and how engaged my students were in this process. And in the aftermath of it, they're very excited about what they've learned. So take a look at the video, and if you have any questions or you want to talk to me about more on this, you can email me. You know how to find me in my Hancock. So enjoy the video, and thanks for taking the time to share this with me. How do you get to building A?
Building A.
This is one of the projects. Hummingbird. So the students saw this, and we make them and we sell them for student fundraising for Skills USA. They're fairly easy to make. The student makes a little bit of money on it. They get it's a confidence booster. So you can make really elaborate things with this plasma cutter. The benefit of using the plasma cutter is that you don't have to do it manually. Manually is very difficult. I have examples of things that were cut manually. So this is an example. This was built about a week ago. The student wanted to make a shooting star, and so in his imagination, he knew what he wanted to make. The actual work is a box. We're looking for the penetration inside the box. So this is an example of cutting by hand, and I'll show you an example of cutting with the plasma cutter. You guys, if you guys want to hold it, it doesn't break. It's kind of heavy, but it doesn't break. It's made out of steel. When you drop it, turn it on. They don't employ manual welders anymore. They employ people who can program and run the machines. So we don't want to do a disservice to our students and teach them, 100-year-old processes where they're not going to get a job. We want to teach them everything. We want to teach them the methods that are still being used on an industry. Locally, we have at least 2 people that I know that already have robots in their facilities. Cuesta College has a robot, Cal Poly has a robot, and College of Humanities has a robot. So if you guys come this way, I'll show you some of the welding equipment.
And I am the Career Job Placement Center of Program Specialist. And we do a number of things in here. We do career assessment testing, which allows you to evaluate your skills and the things that you like to do and to put them into jobs. You can research those job programs, see the salary and all that information that is pertaining to that job, what kind of education is needed for that job. We also have a personality assessment tests where you can take, and they do the same type of thing, give you jobs that are matching your personality
A service
traits.
that's here for students on campus. We have one of our biggest benefits is becoming an EOPS student is that we have some of the best counselors. And we want you to come in, meet our counselors, develop your student education plan. It's a very important part of being able to meet your goals. So whatever that is, some of you may want a certificate, some may want to transfer, whatever you want to do, we make sure that you've met with a counselor and you know what you need to do in order to do that.
She brings the group in now and then. And that's how I learned how to do it the first time. I just stood up and did it. No one prepared me.
Can I come back there? Is everybody ready? Yes. Okay, so hello and welcome to the OACL/Tutorial Center. My name is Stephanie. Sorry. Oh, it's fine. These computers are available for homework use only. And we are open Monday through Thursdays from 9 a.m. to 8, Fridays from 9 a.m. to 3, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 12. And if you ever wanted to tutorial services, you have to fill out this form. Get this form signed by an instructor. Our goal is to help you become independent learners.
Tutors will you bring your work with you.
You can bring your work with you, and the tutor will help you in whatever it is that you need.
Not quite a diamond in this case. And the grinding wheel sometimes diamond. That comes from carbide right
and industrial class because different kinds next.
I enjoyed visiting the machine shops. So it was very interesting to see how the metal was shaped by the machine.
Machine.
Interesting to reading class because it's learn new vocabulary and new words.
Solo voy con mi pena, sola va mi condena.